Today, I'm going to talk about some ways that you can transition to becoming a morning runner. 9.93 miles, 8 minutes, 36 seconds per mile, 142 beats per minute for the run today. Getting the run started at about 4:37 in the morning so I can get my miles in for the day. Now, I'm normally a morning runner. Normally I run doubles, and so I run in the morning and in the afternoon, but normally I prefer to run in the mornings. These days I'm running even earlier than normal, and I've been waking up earlier than normal, and a lot of you guys have been asking me how I'm doing it or how I'm dealing with that. So I thought that's what I'd make today's video about, is not only how to become a morning runner, but just how to get up earlier in the morning generally. So for today, I got, on the night before this run that you just saw, I got 4 hours and 42 minutes of sleep, which is a little bit under my average. My average, according to my running watch and the sleep tracking data that it's been collecting, my average is 5 hours and 43 minutes. That seems like it's been a little low, but I feel like I haven't been sleeping quite as much as I need to. Everyone's schedule is a little bit off these days, so I think that's what it is. Normally I try to get closer to 7 hours of sleep, but I think I can usually do fine on 6 hours of sleep and still get in some pretty decent training at the same time. So just to give you an idea, I've looked back at some of my sleep tracking data. I've been, at least for this week, going to bed a little bit before 10 o'clock, maybe quarter to 10, and then waking up a little bit before 4 o'clock on average to get that 5 hours and 43 minutes. And then as far as the running goes, I've been getting out for my run. Monday, I didn't get out till 4:52 in the morning. Tuesday, I went after my morning live stream, so I didn't hit the road till 6:51. Then Wednesday and Thursday, I went out 4:37 in the morning, exactly, both of those days, coincidentally. And then Friday morning, which is the day after the running footage you just saw, it's 4:31 in the morning. I was out there on the road starting my activity. So getting out there really early, much before sunrise, although usually by the time I'm done, the sun has well arisen and it's pretty bright out. But yeah, it's been a transition. So here's some of the tips that I use in terms of transitioning to becoming a morning runner. One of the things you want to do is make sure you're being really efficient with your time in the morning. It's one thing to wake up early, but then if you're kind of like wasting a lot of those early minutes that you've like worked so hard to earn, it's not really worth it. So what I like to do is I always like to lay out all my clothes the night before. The other thing is I tend to lose things or misplace things all the time. And so I don't want to like be rummaging around the house while I'm trying to make sure I don't wake anybody up in the morning. So I always try to kind of have a location where I put all my running stuff that I'm going to need. I look at the weather the night before, figure out what I'm going to wear, get it all set up, any gels, cameras, lights, any kind of things like that that I might need. I'll get in one place. So when I get up in the morning, it's all there and I don't have to look for it. But I think the most effective change that you can make in terms of being able to become a morning runner is going to be going to bed earlier. It's also the most difficult thing to do because we're so ingrained into our schedules, and a lot of you guys are night owls. I know that. I used to be a night owl too, but I slowly transitioned over the years to going to bed a little bit earlier because as I got older, I realized I can't survive on like 4 or 5 hours of sleep anymore. I need a little bit more than that if I'm going to train really hard as well. And so getting to bed earlier is hard on a couple of levels. One is like your sleep schedule. So you might not be sleepy if you try to go to bed even like an hour earlier, let alone 2 hours earlier. But I like to think of it as it's a transitional period. It's like adjusting to a new time zone that's only like 1 or 2 time zones away. You're just gonna have to get used to it after a little while. And I'll give you the advice that I give to my children. You don't have to sleep now, but you do have to go to bed. So that's one of the things that I like to try and do, is to make sure I'm going to bed earlier. There could be really big social implications to that as well too. So if the rest of your family doesn't want to go to bed at that hour, then you might be the weirdo that goes to bed before everyone else. And so I can understand how that could be really difficult for your family life, and so there might be some, pushback on that, but something that you're just going to have to kind of adjust to if you want to make that work, if you need that more sleep, and you still want to get up early. So maybe it's not something you do all the time, but also, really rethink about how you're spending those evening hours. I feel like a lot of people are kind of like up and doing stuff, but not like essential stuff. And like you might be like having family time, but it's not quality family time if everyone's sitting around looking at their devices. So maybe just go to bed. I don't know. Maybe that's really antisocial behavior. I'm not sure. The next thing that I'll talk about is about your alarms in terms of waking up in the morning. I think by far like the biggest hurdle to get over is just physically getting out of the bed. And so I would recommend putting your alarm all the way on the other side of the room if that's feasible for you. If you are sleeping with another person in the room, that's probably not the most like polite thing to do, especially if that person doesn't want to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. But if you're sleeping by yourself and you're not going to risk waking someone else up by setting your alarm early and requiring you like a couple of seconds to walk across the room to turn off the alarm, I recommend that, because even if you hit the snooze bar, like just don't get back in the bed. Once you're out of the bed to turn off the alarm, if you need to, hit the snooze bar and lay down on the floor. Just don't get a blanket, don't get a pillow, but whatever you need to do, that's fine. You just gotta you gotta get out of the rut first. Get out of the bed, then that's the biggest part of the battle that you've already fought. I remember I used to do this in high school. I would set the alarm really far across from the other side of the room, and then I would fall asleep on the floor by my dresser rather than in the bed. And then I hit the snooze bar 2 or 3 times, but at least I was out of the bed. That was kind of major step number 1. And then after a while, you realize how uncomfortable and chilly it is to sleep on the floor away from your bed. And then you just kind of deal with it and you get used to it. It's all a transition. It's not going to be like that forever. If you have a situation though where you can't do that and it would be too disruptive to the other people in your life if you were to do that, then the strategies I recommend, for example, if your alarm is on your phone like it is for me, I typically will when I have the phone in my hand to silence it, whether it's snooze or to turn off the alarm for the day, I will then look at something stimulating. So basically the opposite of everything that you've read about you should stop doing before bedtime, because they say with the blue lights or whatever, it messes up with your rhythms if you're looking at devices too long or too close to bedtime. All those things that people tell you to avoid when you're trying to fall asleep, do all those things. I'm also not saying that these are great for mental health. I know that basically the trend that everyone's telling you to do now is don't look at your email, don't look at work, don't look at news, don't look at social media when you wake up in the morning. Instead, you should wake up and meditate. Those are all great ideas, but I'm talking about how to get your butt out of bed early. And so if you hit the alarm, something stimulating, if you a lot of times that's when I'm looking at Twitter, is right at 3:45 in the morning when that first alarm goes off, or 3:20. Sometimes, depends on the day, sometimes that first alarm's lately been 3:45 or 3:25, but that's when I'll hit the snooze button and then I'll just open up Twitter. Because then the scroll, you're looking at stuff, your eyes are stimulated, it kind of just wakes you up a little bit. Again, not necessarily the best for your mental health, but it gets the job done. Then once you are used to waking up early, then you can get up and meditate or journal or go for your run. But for now, if you need to, hop on social media or look at that work emails, stress yourself out, go crazy. The next thing I'll do is talk about is you can reward yourself in the morning. So again, these are transitional activities, not something that I would do all the time. But if you're having a hard time getting up in the morning, give yourself some sort of reward for getting up early in the morning. So if you wish that you just had 15 minutes in the morning that you could sit down to a cup of coffee and catch up on a show or part of a show, or you just want to watch the news in peace. Maybe it's the local news or maybe it's some other news. You could do that. So just give yourself that some sort of reward. Get up, make a cup of coffee, have a bowl of oatmeal, whatever. Do that to reward yourself. Give yourself something to look forward to when you're getting up. So you have a great reason to get out of bed. I mean, for me, getting up to go running is a great reason to get out of bed, but you might not feel that, especially if it's been chilly where you are, like it's been here in Chicago. We're having a really slow start to spring. So you might really want to stay into those covers. I totally get that. So instead, give yourself a little reward. For me, being able to like sit down on the couch, put my feet up, and like drink a cup of coffee in silence, not silence, I'll turn the TV on, is really nice. Because normally the rest of the day is just like hurry up and go. Even these days, just like all the days are like super full. So just to have like that minute to myself as a reward for getting up out of bed when I told myself I would, that's a pretty nice incentive. So those are some of my strategies. I'm not going to say that they're easy, and I'm not going to say that they're great for your mental health, but I will say that they kind of work for me, and they will help you at least get that trend started. And so it's like one step at a time. Get up early first, then you can get your exercise in, and then you can start thinking about like, what am I doing in the mornings that are maybe not so great for my mental health? Then you can start thinking about that too. But at least you've already got the waking up early and the go to bed early down, right? So I mean, you can mix up the order on which ones you want to attack first. You don't have to use all these strategies, or you don't have to use any of them, but I just thought I'd go over some of the things that I've been using as I've been transitioning to wake up even earlier than I already have been. And a lot of you guys have been asking me about like what I've been doing or how I do it. So I thought I'd just lay it out there. It's not glamorous. There's no like super secrets. It's just, you know, get your butt out of bed. It's a weird video to make. I'm having fun with it though. Hopefully you guys had fun with it too, and maybe picked out something that you can try so that way you can get the most out of your day. The other thing I would think about is like, before I really go though, is like think about cutting stuff out of your day too, to give yourself more time. I mean, you know, I'm not gonna tell anybody not to binge watch a whole bunch of Netflix these days with everything that's going on, but like, I don't know, maybe cut some of that out a little bit. I mean, you're not watching sports, so like that should save you a whole bunch of time. Hopefully you can go to bed earlier because you're not watching so much sports. So that's like kind of the last thing I'll leave you with. So hopefully this was helpful. If you want to talk about any of these things more, what's been working for you guys that I haven't talked about, I'd love to hear about it in the comments, especially if they're funny or weird or unconventional. Definitely let me know. Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end of the video today, everybody. Hope you guys are being safe out there on your runs, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?